What's going on, guys? Coach Colin here, high performance coach. And if you want the best insights on the podcasts you love, then hit that subscribe button. Other than that, let's get to it. Today's episode is about a great man, Gary Vee, and he's on the podcast that's called A Diary of a CEO. The host name is Steven. This is episode 206. We're at 1 hour and 1 hour and 15 minutes. Steven asks a very, very powerful question. And Gary answers very emotionally. And I'm probably going to cry in this episode. So stay tuned for that. But he asks a very powerful question. And I think it's a question that we could all ask, or we could all answer towards the people that we love. I'm not going to explain it anymore. Let's just go.
Of you as this young man, I was going through all of these pictures and I was reading how you've described her, especially in recent years. This was my favorite picture here of you and your...
Yeah, in Russia.
Yeah. I've never seen you get emotional on stage before, other than when you talked about the profound influence she's had on you. So if this were, God forbid, the last day you had on earth to send a message to your mother, what exactly would you say?
You did it. She just really wanted to be the best mother because she didn't have one. I would just say she did it.
What did she do?
She made me happy. You know, I want to make everybody happy. And it's because I'm aware that she did a better job making me happy than anything I've ever seen about anybody and anywhere about anything. And I just feel like if I don't do that, given that I was given the gift of gab, if I don't scale that, if I don't help the biggest thing I can do for her is scale what she did for me.
Gary, thank you.
Very, very powerful. And the question that I would pose to anybody watching is like, what would you say to your mother or your father or your friends or your family, like your siblings? What would you say to those people if, like Steven said, God forbid, it was your last day on earth? So a lot of the times in the past few years, we bring up giving people their flowers before they're gone. But this is one where it's like giving people their flowers before you're gone. And it's the same type of impact. But it's a great question to think about. And then if you want to go a step further, actually saying it to them. Because there's a power to that. There's like a therapeutic aspect to that, and it's just all around good to do, just to say what it is that you've always felt about those people who are closest to you, how much they've impacted you, how much their life or your life has been made better because of them, And you could even say that for, I'm sure there's some of you out there who have bad relationships with your parents, not the best upbringings and stuff like that. And I'm one of those people. Like, my dad was terrible. But, you should try and see the good in even the bad aspects of your parents or siblings or like whoever, because sometimes or every time you can always see the gift in it. Like, for my example, my dad wasn't around at all. He was a bad dad. Like, I'm a man now and I can look back and be like, that's not how you do it. But him not being around and him being so absent was, and being alcoholic and stuff, it was actually the best thing that could have happened for me looking back, because it made it so I don't want to drink and I don't want to do drugs. Even though I have like mushrooms tatted on my hand, that's a different passage of my life. But like, I don't want to drink at all. I don't drink at all. And I want to be the best father I could possibly be, because he wasn't around, because he showed me exactly what it feels like when you don't show up properly as a father. So it's like, that's a gift, you know? My mom was very much she wasn't a super vocal person when it came to love and words of affirmation and compassion and stuff like that. She was a very hard woman. She is a very hard woman. She's still around. My dad passed. My mom's alive. But, you know, also a great gift, because now I want to be so loving towards my kids. And I understand what can happen and how it feels if I'm not, you know? So it's like those two things, you can look at those two parents and go, oh man, that's terrible. But at the same time, it set me up to want to be like the best possible parent. And then when I went and got my wife, you know, like when I chose my wife, I chose the best possible woman, a woman who would always be nurturing and always be compassionate and always give words of affirmation. It's like, you know, like those two, what they did set up my family that's to come in the best possible way. So I just say that to say, you know, even if you don't like your parents or your siblings or anything, there's still a gift that you can find in what happened, whatever it is, whatever your history is. And maybe you have a great parent. And I notice sometimes when people have great parents, they don't say the things that they should say. They don't say how amazing their fathers were. You know, they don't say how amazing their mothers were. And even though I bring up that about my mom, she was still absolutely incredible in the sense of, you know, she always took care of us. She always made sure there was food, and she always made sure we had a place to sleep. There was no kicking us out. There was no get out there on your own. It was like, you can stay here as long as you need to. Like, don't worry, I'm not pushing you out. You know, she showed love differently. She showed love with actions. And she's she's one of the best mothers ever. And I'm gonna cry. I don't want to cry. Okay, I'll cry a little bit. But she's the best. She's the best for me, you know? And I'm sure your mom was the best for you, even if it's hard to see it or say it. And same goes for your dad. Same goes for your siblings. So say the good things that you have in your heart to say, because you never know when it's done. You don't know when you're going to pass, and you definitely don't know when they're going to pass. And it could be any time. So don't wait. Don't wait. I love that Gary just did this. I'm sure his mother will see this. I'm sure he's said this to his mother already. You know, and yeah, just say it all as quickly as you can. You know, I know there's a whole movement of stoicism and everything, but the feelings that you get to have in life are very fleeting, and they don't come about again. Every feeling is very unique, and it doesn't come about again. So, like, feel out life as much as possible. Doesn't mean you have to react and be a crybaby and be super emotional and wild all the time, but take the opportunity to feel emotions and take every opportunity to express love. And I'm gonna go before I start crying. I don't want to cry on camera too much. All right, I'm out. Peace.